Jazzcast Pros.
All right. Hey, Callie. Welcome back to the basement.
Oh, I love the basement.
The basement recording studio that now actually works because Jazzy came in and fixed all of our technical issues.
Oh, Jazzy. Thank you, Jazzy. Thank you, Jazzy. Thank you, Jazzy.
I know.
So how are you today?
I'm doing really well.
Are you good?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited because I hate social media, and we are doing an Instagram audit pop-up later today, and I need it, and I'm ready for it. I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to be scared and go into it. And
it's It Girl Friday. Mm-hmm. Bossy member is helping us with our Instagrams today. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exciting. Mm-hmm. I'm still in catch-up mode.
Are we ever not in catch-up mode?
I'm having like a repeat of May where I got the shingles and then I left town for a week. Mm-hmm. And then I came home and was like, oh, crap, I have so much to do. Mm-hmm. So then I got the shingles and I left town for a week because that's where I'm at life. Mm-hmm. 45, by the way. I'm 45. For anybody out there that thinks I'm 70 now, because apparently the running joke is that I've been begging for a retirement cruise where you're with everybody's like 65 and older, and you eat dinner at 4 p.m. and you do puzzles and, you know, riverboat cruises and stuff, and Aaron won't take me. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to keep getting shingles so I can prove to you that I'm over 65. I don't really know what to... Oh, and then my GM went out on maternity leave right before I left town when I still was blazing shingles. And
right.
So I'm excited about today because I get to focus on someone else and their business.
Yes.
But also then we get to go do the Instagram audits after.
Yep. And I'm going to tackle my inner demons and get through this. And
focus on one thing.
One thing.
That's the one thing.
I love it.
And we can go back to being crazy later.
like there was another option.
Right. So today we're interviewing Elina and she owns In the Worx, a business coaching service. Mm-hmm.
I know background with HR, and I know when I met her when we met with NAMI Rochester. We were talking about mental health and Bossy and how there's so many connections between the two, and we really focus on mental health. And
I know that she co-wrote a book. I don't know anything about it.
No.
I just saw it on her website. Mm-hmm. And she's a mom of 2.
Right.
And she's from Albania and Greece.
Yeah. I'm interested.
So, yeah, it's got to be a fascinating addition to a person's story, having to move countries.
Mm-hmm. At a young age, I think, too.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for Elina's story.
Today's episode is sponsored by Selina's Mexican Restaurant and Taqueria in Rochester, New York. Selina's is celebrating our 25th year in Rochester, and we are proud to continue offering fresh-made, Mexican-inspired recipes that are affordable and served by Rochester's best. Check out our event space for private occasions, as well as our catering menu for groups of 10 to 2,000. Looking for something different to do? Selina's hosts monthly tequila tasting classes, as well as corporate team-building seminars. Check out the website to learn more, selenas.com, SALENAS.com. Come in and let us take care of the rest.
Hey ladies, do you own your own business or are you considering starting your own?
Are you craving connection and are ready to feel seen? It's time to get real about what it takes to make it as a woman business owner.
My name is Kelly Bush.
And I'm Kelly Metris.
And we're the hosts of Getting Real with Bossy, the podcast that unites and educates women business owners through real, raw, and honest conversations.
We have, I'm going to get it right, Elina Kokorotsis.
You did the R. I know. Kokorotsis. I just want to say it 10 times.
I think we're going to just refer to you by your proper name the entire time. We learn new things, right? You learn something new, you got to use it every day.
Yeah.
Use it several times in a sentence.
It's such a beautiful name to say, though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, I love it.
You.
I'm a Bush.
Yeah.
You're a Kokorotsis.
I know, right?
I love it.
Elina owns In the Worx. We're very excited. We've met you multiple times over the past year, and you are just fascinating. So we're really excited to hear your story. I just want to start with the fact that on your website, I found the best quote ever, and I think it should be everywhere, and it's "Be a pineapple."
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. It's the best. Stand tall, wear a crown, and be sweet on the inside. And I was like, that sums up every vibe I've ever gotten from you. And so I had to write it down because I was like, this is amazing. So be a pineapple.
Kelly and I meet on Thursdays just to do bossy work, and we read that and we're like, that's fantastic. We have a luau next weekend at work, and I was like, oh, I need to get a shirt. need to get a shirt. And I was like,
shirt.
3:30 in the morning on Amazon, like, I can't sleep. And then I saw this shirt and it was all pineapples. I'm like, I am going to be a pineapple. I'm buying this, so I bought it. So I'll be a pineapple next weekend.
Are you going to put the quote on the back?
I could because I have that cricket.
You can do a hashtag, be a pineapple.
Oh my God, I'm writing it down.
I have pineapples everywhere.
Do you?
My home. Oh my God. Yes.
Excellent. Well, I love pineapple.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share about the In the Worx and my story and, hopefully impact others one starfish at a time.
Oh, one starfish at a time.
One starfish. You're just full of the great quotes.
Oh, they're going to make so many
They're
t-shirts.
not mine, though. Those are just quotes.
Right, but you're just like carrying them.
Me.
Yeah.
Yes,
you got to inspire others.
So, In the Worx, where did you come up with a name?
So my brother and I, he's very artistic and he's phenomenal. I love him so much. He wanted to create a logo for me. And I'm like, well, we don't have a name. So we started throwing stuff on a whiteboard. And we ended up with, life is always in the works. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter, your plans or what you want to do, your aspirations or, your goals. You got to figure out how to do those things while still life is going on and it's, in the works. So he literally threw a logo together for me in like a day and I loved it. And I'm like, you know what? We're moving forward because those stories I was telling myself was like, I don't have a website. I don't have a logo. I can't have a business with all these things. And he's like, no, here's a logo for you. So it ended up being, on the spot and just moved along with it.
Nice. Perfect. So you have moved forward into like the HR portion. Some of the things that I saw on your website that I just want to know more about. I did download your Declutter Your Brain freebie that everybody can get. And I do plan on using it with my 13-year-old. I didn't get a chance to fill it out yet. I wanted to, and this week's been crazy. But I was like, I'm going to make Kellen do this with me.
Absolutely.
Because it's so funny because so many of the things that we battle now, we battled when we were teens and preteens, right?
Yeah.
Even as business owners and like just getting all that stuff out of your head so you can focus on what's important. But I want to know more about your F.O.R.K method.
So somebody told me, what, you want to write a book? What are you going to write about?
Oh, so I wasn't even going to mention the book yet.
So
just so you know, Elina came with gifts for us.
We love gifts.
Her book. And we were looking at this yesterday and we're like, we got to get this book. And now it's in front of us. So thank you so much for that. It's
Enjoy.
wonderful.
They reached out to me on LinkedIn. It was another opportunity that just came to me. And I was going to say no because, that bitch. What are you going to write about, right? And somebody told me about, what are you going to write about? And I said, everybody has a story. And it's not, I hope that my story inspires others. That's everybody wants that, right? But you won't know until you start sharing. You won't know until you're able to put yourself out there. And that's what that is about. And it ended up being with 9 other co-writers. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them are in Toronto, in the Canada area. So everybody owns or shares their story. And mine was about owning your own story and how you can write the next chapter in your life. And starting my business was my next chapter.
So the book is called Boom, 10 Top Business Coaches Share Their Tips to Explode Your Business Growth. So before we go on, I just want to make sure we drop the title in so people can look it up and we can put a link in your bio to buy it.
Thank you.
So they found you on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I got to get into LinkedIn. I say it all the time. I really need to get more involved in that. That's fantastic.
And, one of those platforms that I think it's underestimated. Is that the right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because I'm a lot on Instagram, but I'm shifting to LinkedIn because that's where my audience is. HR professionals, business owners, that's where my audience is. And I'm going to be putting a lot more effort there versus Instagram. And, the F.O.R.K method really came from just me sitting down in 2020 at the break point and figuring out what works for me. How am I going to get unstuck? And F.O.R.K stands for Focus on Your Why. Outline your village, that support system, right? Retrospect your current situation by looking at your past chapters, right? Mm-hmm. And then really rekindling your journey by writing your next chapter.
Oh, I love it.
It's like all the things.
Yep.
It's perfect. Like so many people, and I don't want to downplay because it works for other people, but I've been approached by so many different topics and oh, this will help. And you get all the emails and you get we watch the webinars and you do all this stuff and you're like, I've heard this before.
Right.
But that is like everything I wanted to hear. Right? It's like, you understand me.
But it looks
We feel
different for every
seen.
person. It looks different for every person.
Right.
You know, so when I start working with people, they have so much clutter in their brain, hence that checklist initially, which is just a collection of things you can do to just start organizing your brain. And it's funny, my old team used to call my brain more like a circus. There's a circus in there. And, you know, you got to be your own ringmaster to organize that chaos and tame those tigers and lions, right?
Yes.
So going back to that purpose of finding your why, and there's quite a few books out there about finding your why. I know Simon
Loved that book.
Yes, he has an awesome book, or a couple of books. And I'm a big proponent of, you know, what's your village look like? You know,
And I think that's one of the things that people miss a lot in trying to help you move forward and develop or grow, is you really need to know who's on your team and then who you're missing.
Yep.
Like if there's people that you need to move forward that aren't on that team, why aren't they there and where are they and how do you get them? But yeah, that like knowing your village and like appreciate, and it's could be as simple as your next door neighbor, but it could also be as big as the CEO of Paychecks.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
And, you know, you'll be surprised how many people don't have a village. And sometimes even one or two people is enough to be able to support your journey and help you to get where you want to be. And it could be mentors or coaches, and right, but it could be your mom, your family, your brother, your sister, anybody. It could be a friend. And there is people who don't have, you know, more than one person in their support circle. And sometimes it's so sad to see and lonely. But being intentional, it's truly that trick, if you want to, or focus. Who do you need in your village? Who are those people who will support you in your path to where you want to go?
Right. And how do you seek them out if you don't have
Yes.
them organically? And I
Yes.
think Bossy plug right now. Like I think that's one thing that we do offer is we can be your village. You know, we can help you find a village.
Yeah.
Because it is so important and you can't do it alone. And I think in small business world, it's so hard because there are so many people in your life that just don't get it. So even the people that you think should be that support can't because they just really struggle to understand what you're going through.
Yeah. Entrepreneurship can be lonely,
Yeah.
or is lonely.
Right.
Not
It is
can be.
lonely.
It is
yeah,
lonely.
it's one of the reasons we started Bossy.
Yeah.
We're just here to support.
And I love it.
You know,
I
like
love
that's-
the Bossy name. I've been called that lots of times, and for those who
We
are
all
listening,
have,
I'm
right?
sure you will agree.
Yeah.
But, you know, like reframe that. What does that really mean? Is it really being bold and fearless? Right? So it's like being that brave and afraid at the same time. Maybe that is being bossy.
I think so. We were ahead of our time, Kelly. Yes. Well, that was one of the things, you know, it was a joke name at first. And then we're like, no, I think
Own it.
this is who we are. So if you're going to call us that anyway, we might as well own it.
Yeah.
That's our
Own your story,
own
girl.
our story. Yeah.
So you're from Albania.
Yes, Albania. And it's a small country in the Mediterranean Sea. And family moved from Albania in the early 90s in the country of Greece. Not Greece,
Not
New
Greece,
York.
New
York. New York.
Yep. And I came here for school initially
So when did you come to the States?
about 18 years ago.
Okay.
Yep, I came for U of R. Then I couldn't really afford U of R. So then
I don't know anybody.
None of us can.
my aunt was here. My aunt's family was here, and my grandma at the time. And my aunt works for U of R. So she found this cool program in the summer, and she's like, come and check out United States. It's going to be cool. So I'm like, yeah, why not?
And remind me, what year was this?
Oh, my God, 2006.
2006. Okay.
And what were you studying at U of R?
I came for an English as a second language course.
Okay.
However, at that time, back home in Thessaloniki in the north of Greece, I was at an American college for finance, which that was definitely not my thing, as you will discover. And that summer program was more just exploring United States and if it was a place that I wanted to come and move. And it ended up being the best decision ever. And then I had to figure out ways of how to stay. So I went to MCC, tried to transition all my credits from my college, and they accepted. And
That's great.
From there, moved on to Fisher, got my bachelor's and then my master's. And
What did you end up getting your degree in?
I got in human resource development.
Okay.
So my master's is in organizational learning and HR.
In my personal brain, finances and HR development, like that's like in the same category. Like those are like things I don't want.
Yeah, it's all stuff that we don't, that's the category of things we're not always great at and don't want to do.
So you went from like one thing, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I can get that, to another thing where I was like, oh no, I don't want to do that. And then here I am, right? Like I have a master's from Fisher as well, but my master's is in special ed.
Yeah.
But you use a lot of
I use it
skills.
every day.
Yes,
Every day.
yes. And, my career path here in the U.S. really threw me in so many different directions. Yeah, I started in HR and recruiting and moved into supporting clients, especially at Paychex. I was there for quite some time.
Okay.
And Paychex does a great job with like just giving you those skills or those trainings, and they support you to grow those entry-level jobs. And I learned a lot about politics and a lot about the corporate culture and the things that I don't like about corporate culture today, but gave me opportunities to move around HR in the different areas of HR. And, after leaving Paychex, I had an opportunity to get into IT, which was a whole different world.
Wow, we are
Another
just
thing we
covering
don't
all the
like.
things I don't want to do.
And I had a mentor at the time. And, I was so terrified at that time in my career to say, I'm leaving HR, something that I love, and especially training and development, where was my passion. And I'm going into IT in a world that I don't understand. I don't know much about it, but it ended up one of the best stops in my career.
Really?
And then was responsible for business operations within IT. And got to connect with so many software developers and desktop engineers, and such a different world and different skill set that when I got back into HR, I was able to take technologies and HR technologies and connect it to the business needs.
Okay.
Which that's where I am now in my full-time job, the director of HR tech for a railroad company, Genesee and Wyoming. And it's so rewarding to be able to connect the dots between process and needs and what the organization needs. But 2020 hit, and I was at Excelis Blue Cross Blue Shield doing the same thing in HR tech. And, I hit rock bottom. It was working crazy hours.
Were you working from home at that time?
Yes,
Okay.
everything was from home. Excelis did a great job transitioning everybody from home. To work from home, but it was intense, because suddenly HR tech became something that was fully needed,
Right.
and had to transition a lot of stuff online.
Well, it's like I feel like HR tech was something that was a benefit, or if you could do it, it was great. But
Right.
any tech thing all of a sudden became like necessary, like now.
Yep. But at that time, I just didn't want to do that 15 hours a day.
Sure.
I needed that work-life balance. And at G&W, it's wonderful to be able to have that and be able, to have those boundaries at work and have that work-life balance. But in 2020, summer, those inner critics, for 2 years were like, don't start a business. Don't start a business. What is this? Why do you need a business? And one day I just woke up and I said, you know what? I'm going downtown. I'm launching this coaching. I was a corporate coach for about 6 years, and I was supporting, new managers in the organization being able to grow and develop and be able to, manage their new teams. And I said, I can do this. I can do this on my own, on the side. And, of course, there is a long-term plan for that, but those inner critics were just there.
Let's talk about that. I mean, it's something I think comes up in almost all of the interviews that we do, because we are all business owners and those inner critics are so loud. So do you have any tips and tricks on how you deal with those inner critics? Because Kelly and I talk about that a lot in the things that we do, but we're always interested to see if other people have some ideas.
Oh my goodness, where do I start?
The inner critics are the worst.
Yeah.
Worse than
They are.
finance school.
Yeah.
They are. And, lately I have been exposed to positive intelligence. So, how we have the EQ and IQ, and this is PQ, right? The art of being able to move from a negative situation
I'm writing that
to
down.
a positive
PQ.
one.
Positive intelligence. You're going to hear me type it.
Yes, and it's
Positive
by Shirzad Shamin. And he has a wonderful program for coaches. I'm going through the process of getting certified now. But it's fascinating to get into that world of, the neuroscience and the behavioral psychology, where you start looking at what are those inner critics? What do they look like? We all have the judge, right? Judging ourselves, situations, or each other, and others, right?
Yeah.
And then you have those saboteurs, those inner critics, those, however you want to call them. People call them in so many different names.
I just call them assholes.
Okay, we can say that?
You can
okay,
absolutely
well,
you can say whatever you
mine
want.
is that bitch. So.
Yeah, it's not for children. Yeah. We don't swear that much, but yeah, just in case I drop an F-bomb every once in a while. I've been trying to be better, so yeah, you can say whatever you want. So yours is the inner bitch?
Yeah, and
I'm going to tell that to my 13-year-old because we just had a conversation about her and her critics. I mean, the conversation wasn't really like a back and forth. It was more she's really upset.
Right.
I was just supporting her. But now that we're in the talk about it mode, I'm going to tell her, that's your inner bitch.
But there's so many, right? And you might have some more dominant ones than others, right? So for me, it's I'm a recovering perfectionist. So perfectionism is definitely...
I'm a recovering control freak.
Yes, so that's my third one. Yeah.
So I'm like, I feel you. Like, it's something I'm working on, right? It's like that. You have to give up control to be able to balance your life.
Yeah. And what does that look like, right? So, and there are days that are better than others. And sometimes it's a struggle. And sometimes you look back, though, and that's where, owning your story comes in place, right? Because you have those inner critics because of situations that happened in your life and early in your life. And, I remember moving from Albania to Greece. It was an easy transition, especially I was, 7, 8 years old. So I had to take ownership. I had to take control over situations. I have a brother. He's younger, right? So,
so you're the big sister on top of it?
Yeah. And, our family, they didn't speak Greek when we moved to Greece. So you had to adapt to the culture, and Albanians were not that popular in Greece either. So that was definitely that ethnicism was part of it.
The politics over in the European nations are just fascinating because we don't fully understand them because we're in such a large country. And we complain about the politics like within our cities and our counties and our states. And you go over there and it's like you can travel 5 hours and go through 3 completely different countries where there's different languages, there's different cultures, there's different expectations. And we just, as Americans, don't understand it and how intense it can be. So I can't even fathom, at least like some people spoke English everywhere I've been.
Yep.
I couldn't fathom like moving as a child multiple times to places where I didn't speak the language and having to navigate that.
Yeah.
I can understand being a control freak.
Definitely an experience, right? But it's those experiences that made me who I am today, And I think without that, I wouldn't be the person who I am today. Sure. Or, looking back, and that's what 2020 gave me as a gift. When I hit that rock bottom in 2020, it was really more of we need to get back to basics, back to that purpose. What's my why? What's the reason why I want to move forward with a business? What are the next steps either in my career, in my life? What are the relationships I want to preserve? Like you got it when you get to that fork on the road or that, you get stuck, you got to get back to basics and that purpose.
So
and it's so important. And my family and my kids. And, I want to be able to have the flexibility to be with them and spend time with them when I can. And, it's important. Family,
so your why was to start a business on top of working full time?
For now, yes.
When did you leave Excelis? That right in
2021. No, I left Excelis a little later.
Because I would imagine, we kind of thought this technology, Zoom, all of that stuff was just going to be a quick thing, but it's here to stay. And you would have continued working 15-hour days and stuff. So
it got better after a while. Yeah. But so for me, like even the tech part, I felt that I had a privilege because I wasn't tech, right? And I was using WebExes and, all these different tools, like Zoom just came up, but, there have been technologies like this for quite some time. And I was running webinars for 1,000 people at Paychecks. And, I had those skills. So launching the business the tech part didn't scare me.
Good.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was the more the inner critic that wouldn't let me move forward than anything else. Once I went in and I got that DBA, I was like, you know what? Let's do this. And I didn't have a plan. At the time, because I was looking for career development myself, I started attracting people who are looking for the same things. So it was, you attract what you are kind of thing, right?
Okay.
And I started with career coaching, and I had done a lot of that in my corporate coaching times, and I felt comfortable in that. But slowly throughout the past 2 years, it has shifted. I have continued to dig down deep as to what is it that am I supporting? Who is my audience? And it's really from small business owners to HR professionals who are getting stuck. And HR pros have gone through so much the past 3 years. Like they were the first line of defense for COVID. Anything in any organization, HR pros were right there at the forefront. And I don't think people realize the amount of compassion fatigue or, struggles.
Well, for small business owners, we are the HR pro.
Right.
So on top of everything else we were
Yes.
navigating, the HR part kept changing.
All the
And
time.
you were like trying to keep up with it and like trying to support your staff. But at the same time, you're like,
Yes.
I have to pay rent. Like I have no cash flow. I have to pay my mortgage. I have no cash flow.
Even more challenging.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
even
so we
more
were
challenging.
actually all of that.
And I've noticed or I've realized in the past couple of years is like, don't be afraid to pivot. You've done pivots with your business. And,
Oh God, we pivoted like every week for a while.
Exactly. But there are you're pivoting, but it's for the better. And sometimes you might get a wrong turn and you're like, oh, okay, let's go back to this way. you know? But it's being brave and afraid at the same time.
Yeah.
And I love that quote from Brene Brown. It's one of my
Brave and
favorites.
afraid.
Being brave and afraid at the same time. And the feeling like, oh my God, I know I have to do this and I'm going to do it, but I'm terrified. But you still got to do it.
Well, I think sometimes the terrifying part makes you know that it's worthwhile doing.
Yes.
Girl, where have you been? I haven't seen you at work in a while.
Girl, I quit and started my own business.
Really? That's amazing. How did you do it?
Well, I've been listening to this Beauty Boss Millionaire podcast, and it really helped me change my mindset from an employee to a CEO.
All that from a podcast?
Yes, the Beauty Boss Millionaire walks you through the process of starting a business and making your first million.
I need that in my life. I need someone to help me.
Just go to beautybossmillionaire.com or pull it up on your favorite podcast app. It's time to boss up.
Hi, I'm Kelly Bush, and I own Marshall Street Bar and Grill. Whether you're out celebrating with friends or looking for a catered event, Marshall Street is your number one choice. With board games, pool, darts, pinball, and 3 large screen projectors, you'll never run out of things to do. Check out our huge menu with over 60 items, including vegan and vegetarian food, 18 taps, unique spirits, and great daily specials. We've got something for everyone. Come see old friends or make new ones at Marshall Street Bar and Grill. You always have a home at Marshall Street.
So you talked about owning your story. Tell us more about that.
What it means to me.
Yeah.
So my next chapter was starting and launching this business. So it's pivoted me in so many directions. Now I'm focused on strategy because, doing a lot more self-reflection and a lot more focus in what are my, those skills that I can bring and support others is not just about reflection and getting you unstuck. It's really about what is your next 90 days look like? Because you got to take it into action. It's not, you don't want to get stuck in the past, or you got to move forward somehow. So what are the next 90 days look like for you based on where you are in your life, in your career, in your business, and, support you in moving forward. And sometimes it's being able to, 90 days is the plan. Never goes to plan, right? Never. Gotta adapt.
Oh, you're stressing me out at 90 days. Right? I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow.
Exactly. So how can you really break that down to weekly or even daily small habits that you can start creating so that 90 and maybe you don't do everything that you said you're going to do in the next 90 days. Recalibrate. Every day, we have sometimes crazy projects at work, and we just recalibrate every morning. What is the priority for today?
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to even get smaller. What's the priority for the next hour?
Right.
Yeah.
What's the priority for the next 4 hours? But having somebody on your side to be able to help you to get there, it's really important.
And is that what you offer to your clients?
Yes, that's one of I do a VIP strategy day.
Ooh.
So we spend a whole day together where we look at everything that is holding you back. We do a brain dump. And it's actually
love brain
fascinating.
dumps.
I call them tolerations. What are the things you're tolerating? It might be that little, tile in your bathroom that is, wiggly and like makes noise every time you step on it. You're tolerating that, and it's clutter in your brain, right? Your physical environment, your, space. So we put everything on the wall. What's stopping you right now? What do you have in the brain, in the circus? And then we move from there. Where do you want to be? And then we create a path moving forward.
So who are your ideal clients? Who's coming to you now? I know originally it was kind of who you were, but as you grew, your audience grew and the people that are coming to you.
So a lot more small business owners that want to focus on strategy, want to move forward. And partially what happens is in those strategy sessions, they identify a lot of needs around people and around their HR needs, right? So really it's small business owners, and for bigger companies, HR professionals.
Right. So a small business owner doesn't necessarily need to reach out to you because they need an HR professional.
Correct.
They can reach out to you just for business strategies and brain dumping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tolerations.
All the time. Right. Ridding my tolerations. Taming the lions in my head.
The average tolerations that so far that I've had with people I've supported, it's about 230.
What?
Stop.
I already thought of 3 tiles in my house just while you were talking. And I was like, oh my God, if I can think of 3 tiles, like what are the other 230 things?
But think about your business, your bookkeeping, your, all the different things you need to do around your business. And then your personal life, or, if you have kids, right? Everything adds up. And prioritizing, it's really important.
If you've been thinking about starting a podcast and you want to include interviews with people across town, Riverside.fm offers unbelievable high-quality recordings regardless of your or your guest internet quality. And it also gives you separate audio and video tracks for each person speaking. And unlike Zoom, you don't have to install anything on your computer, and your guests don't either. Head over to Riverside.fm and use promo code JazzyCast to get 60 free minutes of recording and 15% off a membership plan.
So I don't want you to give too many things away because I want people to come to you and hire you for these things. But once you identify these tolerations, I'm thinking for me, once I have that list, then I'm just angrier. And I know I can't tackle all of these 230 things, but if that's
overwhelmed.
How I'm going to be successful, I feel like that's my move. So what do you do once you identify all of these things?
That's the fun part. You actually sit down together.
I love that. That's the fun part.
It is the fun part because I think that's when
your client's crying.
Yes.
It's got to bring them down so you can build them back up.
It's so cathartic, when you go through that, and then you got to make some decisions. Some you might have to dump them. Some you might have to just let them go. And which are the ones that are really matter to you? Right. You'll know. Once you start seeing everything on the wall, you'll know. And then you say, okay, for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to focus on these 2 items. You can't tackle all 230 at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have packages that they do, 4 times a year, so quarterly strategy. And sometimes they just want to focus on their business, and some of them, trickles down to their life because it's all connected. It's all in the works. You can't start talking about
it. Works. Oh, nicely dropped. I don't even think you did it on purpose. It is all in the works.
You can't think about work on its own. Yeah. It's part of the things you do.
When your dog has to have ear surgery.
Yeah, my dog just had a total ear canal ablation, which means it's a fancy word for removal, I guess. So,
and how did that impact the other areas in
everything,
your life, right? Your finances, your
Girl, that bitch. Yeah, and then it's I'm at work and we're in a huge transitional part at work, and my time there is a lot, and I need it to be less, but I need to be there. And then I have to come home and check the dog, and I have to make sure he gets his meds, and my husband has to be at our other place. And it's just it's one more thing that I have to put into my calendar that is already full of tolerations, but it's all in the works. So,
and when I talk to corporate people, everybody's like, I have so many meetings. But when you actually look at your calendar, you can easily find at least 4 hours in your week that you can eliminate or, let go.
Right.
Or move, or, if it's not a priority right now, move it to 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now. Everything is fluid. Yeah.
I think that's a tough thing for small business owners is to prioritize because, I think a lot since I'm totally different with my business now than before in the before times.
In the before times.
In the before times, which is we call, before 2020.
Before 2020, yeah.
Right. And where I felt like I could prioritize a little bit better then, but now everything just feels like it's urgent and there's just this feeling of urgency. And I think it's this terror that this could all happen again is somehow in the back in our subconscious. So everything is like, oh, I got to get this done or I'm never going to get to it.
Yeah. And I feel I'm back to my pre-COVID busy.
Yes, and I don't know why. Like during COVID, I didn't get emails. And I remember saying, I don't know why all these people emailed me. Like I spent so much time in email. And I'm like, why are all these people emailing? I just don't understand why I spent so much time on email.
Right.
Yeah. And so for me, this past year, actually, 2023, has been, I needed to reconnect back to the community because I missed that. I was so much more involved before COVID in the community and, kind of slowed down so much, repivoted and did all this stuff. And now I'm like, I need that back in my life. So I took over from Melanie Della Pietra. She's the founder of Disrupt HR Rochester.
Yeah.
So I took the license over this year.
Oh, wow.
We put an amazing event. I don't know how much you know about Disrupt HR.
So you're heading that now?
Yeah, I'm the Rochester lead.
That's amazing.
That's so cool.
It was such a rewarding experience to be part of Disrupt. And we have an awesome team. We put an event in May with 11 speakers, and it's 5-minute presentations. Very upbeat. The vibe is phenomenal.
I've heard great things. I really wanted to go in May, and I couldn't.
It's like TED Talks on speed.
Yes, on steroids.
Yes. On steroids.
On steroids. It was fascinating. And this year we upped our game with the Museum of Play. So we had it at the museum. The speakers were phenomenal. So many out-of-the-box ideas. I'll share the link with you.
Yes.
We have all the speakers on LinkedIn. We've shared as well. And, for me, it was like, how do I connect back to my HR community, my local community, and how can I continue connecting and sharing and growing? And it's just been phenomenal to be part of that journey. And we're starting very soon to plan for our next event next year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And Disrupt has...
I'm going next year.
It's a movement, and it has over 130 chapters throughout the world.
Okay.
So it's
cool.
worldwide. It is worldwide.
I had just heard about it the year before.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, I wanted to go to that. And then this year I couldn't go. I had something going on when it was happening. But next year I'm going.
We're going.
Yeah.
Do you need sponsors? Maybe we'll be a sponsor.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
Sure.
That makes us
See?
go.
So I didn't realize that you took that over. That's fascinating. And I can't wait to see what you do with it. One of the other things that you talk about is mental fitness mastery.
That's all about those inner critics.
Is that ties
PQ,
back?
Yes,
okay.
yes, ties back to that positive intelligence. And how do you move from that negative to the positive? It's a lot about, understanding about what those inner critics look like and how do you tame those voices. There is a whole process, and a lot of it has to do with, recognizing in the moment and trying a way to shift. And sometimes it might be by, maybe focusing on touching something or maybe breathing. A lot of people focus on their breathing to be able to just shift.
Sounds very therapeutic.
Right. And I'm also thinking, we've been in social work world and special education, and, you're helping people with all of their that bitches and tolerations. And I would imagine sometimes it gets emotional. Yeah. Is it easy for you to kind of keep that in the moment, or do you take that on a little bit? And if you do, who's there for you to kind of get that out? Because that's always a tough thing.
Big village. I mean, I have a wonderful family. I was able to bring my parents here.
Oh, wow.
From Greece.
And your brother is here as well?
My brother is here as well. And I'm so proud of my mom because she started a bakery here. It's a home bakery. and she's been doing phenomenal. So, I have a
What
great
does she
village.
cook? Because
she makes those amazing cookies, those decorated cookies and cakes.
And she's local?
Yes.
Okay.
do you want to drop her business?
Sure. Sweet Ella.
Sweet Ella.
Bakery Rock. Yes, my mom's name is Ella. She's one of those people who I admire, because she's moved in 2 different countries, and both with my dad, they started a business in Greece and a business here, not knowing the language or, how the world operates.
Wow.
And they're phenomenal people to be around. And they have been my support, and my brother, my husband, my children, which, Nancy and Ella, I'm sure they're going to be listening at some point. But, they are our world.
We talk a lot about how we give so much in our work, whether, it's with our employees or with our clients, especially doing hard work, right? So people can grow and be better, and then making sure that you're going somewhere to get your own help and your own growth and your own release. Because when you take on everybody else's release, it's exhausting.
I get regrounded at the beach. That is, and it's funny, I was just telling you, on my way here, I didn't realize how close to the bay you are, so I made a detour, and I just stopped at the beach, and I took it all in, and then I came here, because I miss that from Greece, and we just have, a few lakes around here that I can go and get regrounded, and when I do feel overwhelmed, we're all human, we all go through this, and, it's important that you just recognize it, and then go take a break. Just go, 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 go. It's not going to help you.
And
I think to find that.
I think it's a good point. You have to find what is that thing that regrounds you? What is that thing that place you can go and just it all melts away?
Yeah.
And there is time in your day. I say that all the time. No, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. There's no way I can do that. But there is. I can see the water from my business. If I just sat outside for 10 minutes, I think I could be so much more productive. That I don't give myself that time.
Sometimes even 2 minutes is enough. And that's where with PQ, because I hate meditation, I hate to meditate for hours or, so I do very short meditations, 2-3 minutes, 4 max. And they're quick and just focus on one area for you to be able to just, get in the moment and be able to feel what's happening, what are the emotions going through you, and just release them. And in the line of work I do on my 9 to 5 is really we just solve problems all day long, solving problems. And some of them are difficult, and you gotta step away and take a break before you can think clearly and make decisions. So a lot of people don't take breaks. It's a small thing you can do. And
I started counting so I jog walk as much as possible, which isn't often, but I started counting that as my work time. So I've been tracking my hours to make sure that I'm concise and clear in when I'm working. But that's no matter what I do, that's how I process through things, because it's the only time that no one's talking to me. There's no distractions, even at the house.
No screen in front of your face.
You're in the house. I got to do laundry. This is dirty. You got to do that. So there's always these distractions. And I used to go just for the workout, and I would put in the music, and I would just be like, we just have to do this. It's good for your heart. And then I stopped. My headphones broke, and I found that I was able to just think, and the ideas I would come up with. Sometimes I'm just like, oh my God, I hate this. Why am I jogging? Right.
But they start flowing.
But then it gets to the point where I'm like, oh, I have this, somebody said this and I didn't know how to process it. But now I'm coming up with new ideas, and I come back, and sometimes I literally brain dump, and my husband will be like, what are you doing? I'm like, don't talk to me.
I'm dumping.
I'm like, I don't have anything on me to keep track of everything I've thought of.
It works. Yeah. You got to do that.
But you
got to get out.
I got to get away. I got to get away from people and talking and music and even podcasts. It just needs to be empty, and just let it meditate and just sit. And then you're like, oh, wait, I have an idea.
And I think that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up, because you say the word meditation and there are people that just cringe and want nothing to do with it. But that's exactly what you're doing.
You just take a walk.
It's a form
it doesn't
of
have
meditation.
To be
it doesn't
sitting legs crossed.
Crisscross applesauce.
Crisscross applesauce.
Oh, no, I don't look like that when I'm meditating.
Yeah.
Nope.
No. But it's just go for a walk. And they do say fresh air, and if you can do it in the woods. I'm a child of the 80s, so my husband jogs in the woods, and he's like, why don't you go in the woods? And I'm like, because I'm not going to die.
Right.
Really? no, I'm going to be on the street where people can see me if anything happens. Like, nobody's kidnapping me on the street because we carry our inner bitch with us. But when I do walk in the woods, you know, it is so clear. Like they say, like just being around nature really does something to your brain. And I think that's true.
And not everybody has the, opportunity to have nature around them sometimes. Just go for a walk around the building or, just maybe a quick power walk. Yeah, just go outside. Do a quick 5-minute break.
Or if you're driving past the lake, stop.
Right.
Not in the middle of the road. Just pull over.
That's important. That's so important. And you utilize that in your business. Teaching people how to meditate, maybe how it works for them. Because I think, like I said,
it looks very different. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
If you're enjoying this episode, check out High Vibe Table Talks, where we start to remove mental barriers and take action now so you can achieve your someday desires. I'm your host, Mershawn Hargrave, and if you've ever heard that little voice inside to go after something, but the fear around the unknown felt too big, this is the podcast for you. Listen and subscribe to High Vibe Table Talks on the Jazzcast Pros Network with the podcast listener you're using right now, because it is high time you activated your high vibes.
It works. Once you start identifying those things that are holding you back and you shift and you try to find that gift in the moment. What's this moment trying to teach me? It's not always easy to see when you are in the dump or in the difficult situation. Even dealing with difficult people, it's a gift in there. Yeah. You're learning to be patient. You're learning how to communicate. You're learning so many different things. And I try to put a different spin and a positive spin. But at the end of the day, it comes down to, if you want to be productive, you got to manage yourself differently. It's the glue to productivity is self-management, and that's self-leadership. And those are the types of skills that we hone in.
What is the average time that you have a client for?
It depends. The people I work with, like on the strategy, usually it's a good 2 month. We do a full VIP day together, but then they get support for 2 months.
Okay.
So we can still connect and talk. I have the mastery program, that's an 8-week program, and then they get support for an additional 3 months. Through the Grow, there's a whole app and everything. It's pretty cool. And then I have long-term clients with custom projects that I've done, engagements, surveys, and HR type work. Those are more custom depending on what they need. And those projects could be 6 or 8 months, depending on, if they need focus groups or if they need, to find out what's happening in their business. So it's not just strategy, but really improving, the overall, HR model.
Is it mostly virtual?
Some virtual. So I have some local clients as well that, I try to manage my time between work and, how we do all that. A lot of it, focus groups can have to be in person, of course. But the VIP days are usually, I do them Saturdays, and that's part of, because I can't always take time off from work.
Right.
It's a full Saturday and we get things done in a day.
I think we need that.
You get in a room, I provide lunch, and we actually have a good time. When people leave, they feel so relieved. They feel like they were productive and they were able, to put everything on the wall. And then I provide, of course, a 90-day strategy. I put it all together in a report so you have it. But it's fascinating to see people go through all those emotions and at the end come out and feel like they have accomplished something for their business.
I just keep going back to writing your story and how you described it as being stuck in the current chapter, and you give people the ability to move on to write their next chapter. And I love that.
So that's part of that third step, right? Like once you know, why are you doing this? And knowing who you have in your corner, now you start look back in your life and, from 0 to 7 years, for example, and kind of, look at those chapters. What did you look like? What did you do? What were some things you experienced? And you start reflecting back in those years and then get to the next chapter and the next chapter. And in the end, when you get to now, you look back and you actually see all the skills you have acquired, the experiences, the knowledge, and you are here for a reason right now. And life has been preparing you for your next step. So when you look at all that and what you have been preparing for, it truly becomes clear as to where do you want to go next. And that was my aha moment when I look back at my career. I'm like, I've been in HR in pretty much every area of HR except employee relations. And, supporting HR professionals, it just became so natural because I had that life had been preparing me for that. And as I dig deeper, strategy was always part of that. Being productive and finding those tips and tricks that make you productive that have always been part of who I am. So now it's so much easier to just give that back to the world.
It sounds so therapeutic.
I know.
And I think you've talked about this several times today, and we were reading it on your website yesterday, that you take those moments from your past, and they've all brought you here. And I think looking at your past chapters, there's ones I want to rip out of my book, but I think those are important.
I bet those are the most important.
Right. And I think a lot of people have those moments. So working with you and really being able to look at some of those hard years or those hard times, those hard chapters, and pulling out what you've learned, I think that's an incredible gift that you're giving to people.
And they are very emotional chapters. And when we go through that together, just seeing people transform is just such a gift for me.
That's amazing.
So how do people hire you?
You can reach out through the website,
which is
intheworx.org.
And it's WORX.
Yes, .org.
.org.
We'll have all of that information
thank you.
Attached. So what's your next chapter?
I think I'm on the path. You know what? I'm pivoting as I'm going. I'm continuing to share and grow with people. And honestly, right now, my next 90-day strategy is to focus on publishing 2 more chapters.
Okay.
And 2 more books.
Wow.
They will be coming out soon. One is about resilience, and it connects a lot to the inner critics. And, resilience is a muscle, and, you keep working on it, you become better.
Resilience is a muscle. Did you write that down? Resilience
so many things.
Is a muscle. I love that. Because if you don't take care of it,
you learn as you go.
Yeah.
You got to learn as you go. So this was my first experience in a podcast, and actually I love it.
You've done really great.
Cool. It's really cool. But maybe sharing more about owning your story and helping others to own their stories. It's important. My VIP strategy day, I'm rebranding it to Quieting the Circus.
I love that, because that was one of my favorite things that I've written down so far. It's just such a great visual, and I think especially for small business owners and entrepreneurs, that is exactly what's going on in our head.
And I have a coach myself. All coaches need to have coaches as well. So my coach, Matt Fitzgibbons, we were talking, and, he's like, remember the circus in your brain? We always talked about that. And I said, you know what? This is all about quieting that circus in your brain. And so many people could benefit from that. So that's, I'm rebranding and also adding some new things to the VIP day. So for my business, I keep going. I hope that this can be something that I can do full time in the future. The railroad has been phenomenal, and I'm learning a lot.
I'm sure.
About the industry, very different industry than where I've been before. I work with some amazing people, and, keep going. My family is my core, right? My why. So every little moment I find to do things with them, I take, leadership of that, and I just plan things. And so today, actually, I took the day off, and I was just telling you, I think I'm going to go take my kids off camp really early and just go to the beach and just spend some time together. Go make the best out of the moments you have.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I want to hear even more about your story.
I know. Well, I'm wondering, maybe we have a conference coming up in October, so maybe you would want to be a presenter for that and give a little bit to our Bossy members.
We'll be talking about that. I'll be reaching out.
Yep.
So Elina from In the Worx, WORX.org. You can find her on LinkedIn and hire her. Is there anything else you want to promote or
get cookies at Sweet Ella.
Cookies at Sweet Ella.
It's already on the list. And where can they find your book?
On the website.
On the website?
Yep. There is a store on the website.
All right. Well, I thumbed through a little bit before we started, and it looks fascinating. So everybody should get out there and get it.
Live it, love it, lime it with Selena's Mexican Restaurant at the Village Gate. Come for the food, stay for the fun. Become a part of Selena's family. Selena's offers daily specials, happy hour at the bar, and catering, plus dietary menus for celiac, vegan, and vegetarian guests. When you're on the west side, grab a quick bite at the new Selena's Taqueria Grease, 745 Maiden Lane in the Tops Plaza. Find out more at selenas.com, SALENAS.com.
If you're a woman looking to grow your business, increase brand awareness, and reach a wider audience, Jazzcast Pros is here to help. Our podcast network is dedicated to helping women like you create your own podcast. With our expert team handling the technical aspects, you can focus on connecting with your audience. Get the support you need to start your podcast and take your business to the next level. Jazzcast Pros. That's the power of podcasting.
Whoa. Right. Elina Kokorotsis.
I know we say this every time we've interviewed a coach, but I'm like, we need to hire her.
She's fascinating. I just say that all the time too, but wow. I love so many things. I love that we were already talking about like those inner demons, and that ended up being an entire theme of that. My tolerations.
Can we just say that from now on?
Yeah. And nobody will know what we're talking about unless they've been in the works.
Yeah.
And they won't know. It'll be our joke. our sad joke. And I want to learn more about positive intelligence. That's definitely something I'm interested in learning more about.
PQ is in my notes of things to deep dive next time I want to stare at my phone.
Right. And I feel like I've always had a hard time really describing to people in my life who are not business owners, like what it is to be in my head. And holy shit, it's a circus. It's just like a perfect analogy.
Yeah. Sometimes it's fun and sometimes it's scary.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just full of peanuts.
And I love the Life is Always in the Works.
Yep.
I'm definitely doing the Declutter Your Brain. I have it downloaded. Super excited about it.
I'm ready to quiet my circus.
Yeah.
And I just
Resilience
feel like,
is a muscle.
Right. And those VIP strategy days. I'm really looking forward to that.
Right. I want to know what my 200, well, I know it's more than 230
I think
tolerances are.
Right.
I'm a little scared.
Well, she's like, and write them on the board. And I'm like, I'm just envisioning like the crime scene board with all the strings and attaching things.
Yes.
I'm like, yes, I need one of those boards. And I can't. And she brought us a book.
I know. Not that we ask for gifts, but we do love gifts. And I'm excited to read the book.
Me too.
I'm excited for the F.O.R.K method, which it sounds like is in her chapter. I'm just like, you can hear me.
Yeah.
Looking for it in here. 2 more books coming out, she said. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
Can't wait. And own your own story.
Yeah.
Figure out where you are and why, and then write your next chapter.
And don't be scared of your past chapters.
Yeah.
Because they're all a learning experience and they've brought you to where you are today.
I thought that was a great follow-up after Jazzy's interview last month.
Right.
Of how everything you've done in life.
It's all connected, man.
Connects and leads you to what you're doing now. So thank you to Jazzcast Pros.
Always.
For producing and making us sound amazing.
And thank you to Selena's Mexican, our title sponsor.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I hear they're amazing.
They are fantastic.
Their owner is the coolest. She's so cool. Follow Jazzcast. Find Elina on LinkedIn and her website, In the Worx, WORX.org.
Yep.
Hire her.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Absolutely.
And next month, we're going to be in Buffalo for our conference. We're very excited.
I hope she can come. I think it'll be good for her. Not that I just think she'll do so well.
Yeah.
And maybe we can get her on the third day when we've got all genders on our bossing day.
Yeah.
Because I think her message is amazing.
So many cool things happening. So make sure you follow us at Bossy ROC, ROC, and join us at bossyroc.com. And be bold.
Be brave.
Be the boss.
Yeah. Hi, it's Kelly,
And Kelly.
the host of Getting Real with Bossy.
Join us in Buffalo, New York for our Bossy Small Business Conference 2023, Focus and Fortify, October 16th through the 19th. This event is open to the public, and you can find event details on our website, bossyroc.com.
The agenda we've created will help you fine-tune your business and fortify its foundation. Devote time to magnify your business structure as we enter the fourth quarter of 2023. You will leave with tools and tips to maintain focus on what's important and a plan to start 2024 on solid ground.
Join us to Focus and Fortify, Buffalo, New York, October 16th through the 19th.
Be bold.
Be brave.
Be the boss.